What happens when you make a slow car go fast? This is the FTX Kanyon V2, a very capable budget trail runner. And in a previous video I said this. I don't really know why you'd want to run a 3S LiPo in a... And while I was editing this footage, this video came out. Talk about time. Well, as the old proverb goes, if you can't beat them, join them. I have spent literally minutes scouring YouTube and Google, and I've even asked an AI entity to see what the fastest speed recorded for this car is. And there's nothing out there. There's probably a reason for this. If when you clicked on a video this was the thumbnail, my claim still stands and I have the fastest FTX Kanyon V2
in the world.
So stay tuned and see what happens. Right, inaugural 3S run. Don't have a clue what to expect. Maybe I should have had a quick blast around before putting that on, but hey ho, here we go. Right, what we got? 10 mile an hour. It shouldn't be too hard to beat with a brushless setup. Let's go and make the world's fastest. Okay, now we've got a speed to beat. Let's get to work. I want to do all the runs off-road just to try and preserve the body and components a little bit. I mean, it's quite a tall car. It's over 300 mil from ground to the top of the roof box. So even at that slightest movement on that speed, it's probably going to unbalance it and make it topple over. And if that happens on tarmac at a decent speed and it starts cartwheeling down the road, there won't be a lot left to pick up. So as it's going to be grass running, my thoughts for the suspension is to soften the oil up inside just so it absorbs all the bumps quickly, but I want to keep quite a lot of tension on the springs so it returns quick as well. Might be completely wrong, but we're experimenting here. Also, there is a few mounting points on the suspension itself, so I'm going to move them forward and low just to see if we can get the clearance down a bit. Because at the minute we're sitting at 60 mil from the ground to the bottom of the motor plate here. So this is fitted with a 550 brush motor and brushed ESC standard. So my thoughts for getting a bit of extra speed, I've got a Surpass Hobby Rocket ESC rated at 120 amps, which is a sensitive ESC to go with this sensitive rocket motor. 10.5 tenths, it's not the highest wattage, but it spins at 3950 kV, which from a 2S battery should be 33,000 RPM. I have a few mod 0.8 range 21 teeth up to 25 teeth, but the first test run was only the same 20 teeth doing this purely just so I can see the difference. I know one thing for sure, if I ever get an offer from Fast Track to endorse their tools, I don't think I'll bother. Sheer trying to a bit of a mid-work update. Firstly, I've raised the rubber grommet height so the body sits a bit higher because it was rubbing like mental as it were. So it should give me a bit more clearance for the wheels. These wheels are going to balloon like crazy, but I haven't got any other ones at the minute. I've moved the front and rear suspension to the lowest point I can find on there, which has actually lowered the ride height by about 10 mil. So if we need some more, I can stick some tubing inside the shocks themselves just to bring the height down a bit more. So the rocket motor is in and all welded up. Not that you can see very well in there. USC's in. Now I was going to swap the receiver out for a Dumbo RC receiver with a gyro, but it means desoldering all the wires for the lights and the winch. I Just can't be bothered with that, not for the gains that it's going to get me. We're almost done. Just wanted to give it a quick bench run while we're here. So I've just got a little 3250 2S battery. I don't know how much charge is in it. Just plug that in. Or not. There we go. Right. Transmitter's on. It's alive! Wow. That was about quarter throttle. Oh God, what have I done? And that's on 2S. I did notice that the wheels were spinning the wrong way. I've just spent the last 3 hours trying to sort the motor to get it to go the other way, but because it's a sensor motor, it's not just as simple as swapping 2 wires over. So I've tried resoldering A and C and then swapping the sensor lead A and C cables. That didn't work. I've tried all sorts. In the end, I've had to turn the whole motor and gearbox assembly around. So instead of it facing that way, it now faces that way. But in doing so, there's 2 brace bars here that hold the battery bay on. They were located here, but because the gearbox now goes under here where those were located, I've had to move that over to here and then the receiver plate over to here. Oh, it's been a nightmare, but I think we're done. Just gentle because I'm not supporting it. There we go, forwards. This is actually my son's favourite car at the minute that I've got. When I asked him why, he said it was because it was slow. Sorry kiddo, if it survives I promise I'll put it back to normal. We're going to do our first 2S pass. I've got literally no idea what to expect from this, so do me a favour, pause the video here and put in the comments what you think I'm going to get, bearing in mind that 10 mile an hour was the original speed. Right. Oh, that body rubbing. Right, so that's first gear. That's high gear. Oh, that's not too bad now. I thought that was going to be absolutely mental when I tested it in the garage. Right, what did we get then on that? Nine. So that last run must have been 10 kilometres an hour, then I'll have to check that when I get back. Right, let's bring it in. Oh God, that body rub. I'll stick 3S in it. Okay, 3S is now in. Let's reset this. Well, that's a bit quicker. Ah! Oh, that's flat out. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was going to be a bit more lunatic than that, but we are still on the standard gearing. The goal was twice as fast. 15 mile an hour. Alright, we need to go and have a look at some gearing, I think. I don't know if it's just the UK at the minute that's suffering with the weather. I'll just show you mine. At the minute, thundery, rain, wind. It's been like that for a good few weeks now, if not a couple of months, which just prevented me from getting out to do anything speedrun wise. So this wasn't supposed to have been my next video. This was my WL Toys 144001. Trying to beat Tommy RC's speed run with this. But before I do any work to it, I wanted to do a benchmark run just to see what progress I make with the video and try and document it all. I just can't get out to run it. And then I've got this one. Comes a roller, it's all finished. Again, need to get out and run it. You can't. It's too wet, too windy. I've got a perfect road that I found. It's 500 metre straight, nice black tarmac. Just can't get out to run it. But as you've just seen, we had a break in the weather last night, so I managed to get this out onto the common. It was a bit damp, but it's an off-roader, so it's what I'm planning to do with it, off-road speed. Was a little bit disappointed with the top end, 15 mile an hour over the original 10. It's a 50% increase, so it's not too bad, but I wanted a little bit more. But we have literally just changed the ESC and the motor in this at the minute. I didn't want to go down the route of having to do a two-parter for this car. I wanted to get it all done in a one-er. But with the weather as it is, I haven't released anything for weeks now, so I thought I'd get part one done, get the speed run on, come back in here, tell you what my plans are for part two. So plans for part two, new spur, new pinion. We'll see how we get on with that before we even think about taking the gearbox and diffs apart to replace those gears in there. So I want to get a 60 tooth spur for this. It's fitted with a 70 tooth, but hopefully I can find a 60 tooth that will fit. And I've got a range of pinions to try in it from 21 teeth up to 27. So hopefully one of them will be nice, give me a nice mesh and some good top speed then. And the good thing about the motor mount in this is it's slotted. So at the minute with a motor on a 20 tooth pinion, it's quite close to the spur gear. So I've got about probably a max of 10 mil to play with to move the gear, the motor outwards to get a bigger pinion in. So we should be all right. So roll on the good weather. See you in part two.